Alright guys, let's take a look at the Amnesia Modloader that I developed earlier in 2014, but recently I revisited it to improve it and rewrite it, and so I've made a big amount of improvements, fixes, and with help of a lot of other people, gotten a fairly good version out, I'd say. For those who don't know, the Amnesia Modloader is a Java application that you can use to sniff out your full conversion mods for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It will list them in the program, in the GUI, and you can just select whatever mod you wish to play and then click launch. It's very easy, and it works for all full conversion mods, and you can even see additional information about that mod if the author knows about this mod loader and makes that information available. Of course, most mods won't have that information, at least not at this point, and probably won't. But if they do, then that's always a plus. And for whoever are making mods onwards from now on, if you do make support for this, that would be awesome. Anyways, basically, here it is. This is the application. It's a simple exe file. Currently, it's only available for Windows, but I should be able to get a version up for Mac and probably Linux as well, as soon as Amnesia is DRM free from Steam on those platforms. Because with the 1.3 update to Amnesia, it was free from Steam's grasp, so therefore you can now start the game through just the exe file, just like retail. So therefore this one works now the same way for both Steam copies and retail copies. So yeah, it also works for older retail versions, but it does not work for older Steam versions. But Steam is automatically updated, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so if you have this downloaded, you can simply start it up. If it doesn't start, then you might have to tinker around with Java. If you don't have Java installed, it will prompt you to install it. If it doesn't start at all, you might have to check Java and just make sure that Java works and possibly update or uninstall it. It requires Java 7, I believe, perhaps 8, but I need to test that. But just get the newest Java is probably the best option. Alright, so first time starting it, it will ask you to do some preferences. It's not that much you really need to do. It's mostly just these directories that you should do right now, and then you can do these if you'd like. Basically, first off, you're gonna have to search or browse to your mod directory, or, well, your game directory, I mean. So wherever you have your game installed, just go to that folder. Currently, my game is installed on an external hard drive, a USB hard drive, so it functions slightly slower than you would get on a normal one. You'll probably notice that as I go along. But yeah, there's my Amnesia installed directory. It's in Steam on an external drive, so I'll just select that. And then you can have a mod directory. You can have a custom mod directory, which is separate from the game, or perhaps within the game, so that it excludes a few other folders. Or just use the same as the game, which is probably the most common, because most mods are installed in the same folder. So I'm just going to use the same. Otherwise, you can specify some settings here, whatever size you want on the icons. I find that 48 is a fairly good size. It lists 5 mods without even having a scroll bar, so I'm going to stick with 48. You can resize it whatever you want. But of course, you don't need to change it. You'll probably find a good resolution later on once you actually know what it does. So after you accept the preferences, it doesn't update the list automatically. I might add an option to do that, but for now it's just simpler to not. But just click the refresh button up in the corner to start searching this directory that you selected. It'll search the mod directory, and if the mod directory is set to the same as the game, it'll search the game directory as the mod directory. So click refresh and it will update the list. It will find whatever mods you have installed in that directory. Here you can see the mods that I have right here. It does find the original game, Amnesia: The Dark Descent. So that is also, when you install it, you'll be putting some files into the original config folder to display this information here. It's not required, but I recommend doing it just for the sake of it. It makes it somewhat nice. So yeah, this is the original game, Amnesia: The Dark Descent by Frictional Games, and otherwise there are other mods here that I have installed. These right here I just quickly threw together as an example to show up in the list, and this one is an actual working one, although unfinished. But so these won't actually start. If I try to start them, they won't work. The original will and the mod will. But let's take a look to begin with here. You have the title here, which will always show up for every mod because every mod has a title without any additional files. And then you have the author right here and the description. Whether the mod uses custom shaders. This is a rather new feature, an unused feature. This mod loader will probably be updated somewhat soon to support use of custom shaders, where it installs them and uninstalls them as you need them, because basically the manual installation of custom shaders involves taking out some files from the original game's shader folder and replacing them with a mods folder or mods shaders. It's kind of clunky, but it allows for some very fancy effects that mods can make use of. So therefore, it's as I said, it's very unused. I'm not sure if any mods really have implemented this yet, but we've just been testing around. As soon as I get that feature up and running, a mod that utilizes this should be able to automatically install the shaders by just starting the mod without you having to do anything with the folders. So, and then there's just the required game version. So, for example, this mod has 1.3 because this one relies on a lot of the new features that that came along with 1.3. Most mods are compatible with 1.2, some even earlier, but most I'd say are 1.2, and some are 1.3. So it really depends on what version of the game you have. You probably have the most updated, but if you don't have 1.3, I recommend getting 1.3. Unless you have a reason to stay to 1.2. 1.3 has a few bugs. They'll probably get fixed eventually, but yeah. It's really up to you if you want to update or not, but some mods do require it. Alright, so otherwise the launcher, it looks very much like the original Amnesia launcher when you start the game itself. It has the quit button and start button here. Has a preference here, and it has open the mods folder. So whatever mods folder you selected, you can click that button to open it in Windows Explorer. So for example, there's the second dimension, which I have installed at the bottom here, and then I have within the mods I have just these three. As I said, they are just test mods, so they don't actually work. They don't contain anything other than the required files to show up in the mod loader. Alright, so let me just show you quickly how to start the Amnesia: The Dark Descent original game. You can click launch mod here. As you see in the preferences, there will be primary launch option. You can do either launcher or direct game if you want to do real quick. Otherwise, you can click the little arrow to do whatever you want without going into preferences. So starting the launcher will start up the normal Amnesia launcher with that mod you selected, or the main game, which is my case right now, as the current configuration. So I'm going to set the options to, let's see, this resolution, and yeah, just to test, or just to show you that it works. It starts up Amnesia: The Dark Descent right now in a windowed mode. This is the original game, so and here it is. It's kind of lagging right now because of the recording. But yeah, there's the original game there, and then if I am to start the mod right here by just clicking launch, yeah, it'll look the same, of course, but as you can see, it has a different setting because I need to change it again because each mod saves those settings individually. As you can see at the top left corner, it says Amnesia: The Second Dimension. And here it comes with their own logos and whatever information and whatever the mod specifies, whatever they want to show up, and you know how it all works. Maybe if you haven't installed any mods before, this might be new to you. But yeah, there's the logo. I'm just not going to go any further with that because it's not really released yet, so I'm just going to shut it down. But that's one mod, and these, if I just try to start them, they won't work. As you can see, it just comes with this error message because they are incomplete. So yeah, that's mostly how it works. It's very simple. If you do select a very large folder for the mod directory, or if you leave it blank right now, it's going to error out, of course. It's going to give with no mods found in specified directory. But if you select a rather large folder, for example, your C drive, your entire C drive, that's going to be a bad idea. I recommend not doing that because it's going to take a while. And currently, while refreshing, the application freezes up. I'm going to fix that eventually, but while searching, it freezes up a bit. So you probably don't want to force it to do any more than it needs to do. Other than that, if you want to download it, you can download it in the link in the description, or if you're watching this on the page where I'm going to be embedding this video, which probably will be the case. I'm just going to go to the forum right here, which is where I have the main thread for this mod. Here we'll have the primary, or well, I wouldn't say primary, but just this is the thread that I put the most information on. So if you're looking for any information about this mod loader, you can find it right here. Requirements, you can find it download, as well as a video. I'll be embedding the new video here, and yeah, just a few other information. If you want, if you are developing a full conversion mod and you want to support it, here are the information to do that. It's very easy. It takes a minute perhaps, or a little more if you want to design a very proper icon for it, but that's up to you. If you want to support it, I'd be very happy if you did that. Other than that, I don't think there's much more to mention, really. If you are just curious, the information that it saves are saved in Amnesia Modloader in your saves directory, that is. So you'll have the settings right here and the log there for whatever reason, or well, because it makes it, of course. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to say about this mod loader, an updated video about it, and if you want to download it, I'd love some feedback, or if you use it, I'd be very happy about that. If you support it, that would also make me very happy, and yeah, just happy all over the place. Alright, so that's really all I had to say, so I will